in the AN. Still pissed off. Why? Because kids are being bombed. Let's watch this first. We'll have a little talk about it. This is why we can't have nice things.
Senator Hanson?
Well, I can't believe this. Senator Wong got up this morning and said about the notice of motion put before this Parliament to do with Iran was actually a stunt. It was a real stunt and a waste of Senate's time. This is a stunt, what you've done to raise a censure against me. And actually this is reiterated by a Labor senator, first term Labor senator from Western Australia, made it clear Labor's intent to wedge the opposition and test its willingness to publicly rebuke One Nation, which has overtaken the coalition order level in many polls. Isn't it interesting? One of your own Labor senators admitted it was a wedge. So this is a stunt. And the people out there are fed up with this. Just about all your speakers here are talking about the polls, and all you're worried about is the preferences. Are you going to get preferences? Are you doing preference deals with One Nation? It sticks in your craw. The fact is, in your gut, that you can't stand. The fact is that One Nation is now on 27%, 28%. You can't stand it. What?
To start, Iran had a westernised country at one point, a westernised leader. Iran, the regime, had a greed problem. Not at all dissimilar to the United States when it comes to oil. It became more and more dictatorial. So along came an opportunist. I'm just so I get his name right. Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. Ayatollah, we'll just call him that. Ayatollah was an opportunist. He seized an opportunity and promised liberation, freedoms. He promised to put the power back in the hands of the people. Is this starting to sound a bit familiar, is it? Somebody else promised those things once before too. A man by the name of Adolf Hitler. Democratically elected to power. The United States assisted in all this going on, by the way, with their political meddling through media, through economics. The US is also a key component with the United Nations in installing the problem that they have next door. The Ashkenazi Europeans posing as Jews in Canaan. The occupiers of the nation states of Israel. Sorry, I said that wrong. The occupiers of the states of the tribes of the lands of Abraham, the lands of the tribes of Jacob, the lands of the tribes of Israel. Israel isn't a place. You put two regimes next to each other, one Eastern European with an axe to grind, and then Ayatollah with a grudge to hold. What else are you going to get? Of course you're going to get that problem. This blanket speak of all Muslims are bad, it is simply not true, Pauline. Pauline and I met a few days ago. I didn't even bother trying to talk to her because I can see there is no changing her mind. Her thinking is antiquated and narrow, with a very narrow bandwidth. I don't think Lee's the same. Honestly don't. Lee got on stage and fixed the verbal diarrhea that fell out of Pauline's mouth, and Pauline kept sticking a foot back in her own mouth. Don't tell them to piss off back to where they came from. You don't tell us, right?
What's happening? We've still got 2 years to go before the election, but you have to raise these stunts all the time. Now, what Senator Wong said in her speech, I agree with most of it. I really do. Except one thing. You got it wrong with my comments. You couldn't even get it right. What you...
How often do you see the camera set up perfectly for them to perform in front of? She's looking directly down the camera lens. She's looking directly down the camera lens. This is how media puts them in their lounge room. She's looking directly at you. Now that's a stunt. A propaganda stunt. Propaganda isn't just lies or repetition. There's all kinds of propaganda. There's this. There's a bunch of people who work for government in Canberra putting on a show. And half of them don't even know it. Too dense. Politicians don't call shots. Most of them dumb as dog shit. Why do you think Jackie Lambie needed 2 advisors? And most of them had 1. They all had 1. Jackie Lambie had 2. Doesn't say much for her intellect, does it? The advisors write their scripts for them. They argue along these lines. It's all kinds of propaganda. The people that are planted in the crowd to clap, to get the rest of the crowd clapping. You stand right at the back of a party launch and you can see it plain as day if you have eyes to see. How is this helpful? I'm going to go shopping soon, so I'll try and wrap this up. Let's move off some lay-bys that I can't afford.
portrayed in this place, and especially even Senator Ruston, by saying in her amendment the Senate condemns and rejects Senator Hanson's inflammatory and divisive comments regarding Muslim Australians. What did I say? Do you know what I said? Because it's been misreported a lot by the media. You see, you do not even know in the full context of what was said. So therefore, you are wrong in what you're saying here. And you know what? I can actually get up and make reference to different radical Islam.
It's Sarah Hanson Young, isn't it? She actually looks legitimately pissed off with the whole thing. She actually looks like she's like, I'm fucking fed up with this shit. I got to admit, so am I. This starts to go into the all racist, your racist, he said, she said, pointing the bone at one another shit. I won't get into it because it pisses me off. It pisses me off to watch it. Why? How does this help our economy? Not our economy, yeah. Oh, great for theirs. How does this help to filter the Freemasonry out of our so-called leadership? Out of our police, out of our judiciaries? Because none of them are ours, they're all theirs. How does this put more beds in Burnie Hospital or any hospital? How does this shit stop or intervene into some kind of programs that puts dads back in the homes so kids don't go sideways, because then we'll have some discipline back in the homes instead of, oh, we need more youth detention centres? Because that's the road that Germany went down with the Hitler youth camps. Haha. I know. My great uncle was in one. My grandfather was in an orphanage because his parents died in a Russian gulag. And I wanted to know, so I asked. Sometimes I wish I didn't, because that pain is transferable. Which is why I care as much as I do. I want my kids to know the truth of the atrocities of the history that we created and our forefathers have created, that we are walking into again. Because nobody thought to ask the right people, the people who were there, the people who actually realised everyone was on the wrong side of history. Everyone, on all sides. Who'd have thunk, eh? We was being manipulated. Here we are again. Stop falling in love with negative resonation, negative personalities, just because you got an axe to grind and a chip on your shoulder. Play on that shit. They reap that shit like it was sown for them. How does this get the cops out of our house? Turning a broken heart into a jail sentence. And family violence orders that don't exist, that never happened. How does this put rights back in the hands of people? Hopping up and down about gun rights. Fuck off, idiot. Yeah, they took mine too, again. So what? It's only a way of figuring out who's got an infatuation with guns. So they know who to round up when the day comes. Who has what political ideology? I fucking hate politics. I don't have a political ideology. I'm not an idiot. I don't belong to a party. Only kid, remember, from a broken home. We went to two schools that didn't go well together. I've been watching the entire world from the outside looking in my entire life. And what I see does not impress me. It's pathetic. You're all pathetic, really. Getting around, stabbing each other in the back, playing fucking games. Manipulating each other. Stepping all over each other, thinking that's success. Yeah, cool, you got to where you are by standing on someone's fucking head. Joining up with your silly little fucking clubs. I'm a Freemason now. Yeah, don't tell everyone, mate. Now they put them in the paper. Trying to normalise Freemasonry as if it's some kind of noble good thing. It's a way of figuring out who's who in the zoo and what's what in the parking lot to see who gets to go past 33rd degree. The Grand Wizards and Grand Masters and the Jesters. Order of the Jesters, eh? Our king is Mirth. I'm just going to spill it. I gave a whole bunch of information to Pauline and Lee the other day about our council, about how drugs are getting into the place. A whole bunch of stuff. Corruption in the courtrooms. I had to be careful what I said. Lee went like that to show me she was wearing a wiretap. Why do you need to wear a wiretap? Well, is that because of the white hats? See, because what I see out of Ricardo Bosie doesn't impress me none. Yeah, I've dropped all your names too. Because the people deserve to know where their money's going. The people deserve to know where all the money went from Epic Park. I know I put myself in a precarious place, and I know I'm a father. I know, I'm a father, right? First and foremost. This is why I know cops keep trying to set me up. They do, they actually do. It's funny how they send drug dealers to my house a night or two before I have to go to court. After I've told them to go away and not to come back. They just rock up, oh, can I call a taxi for me? Fuck off. Yeah, come in, mate. No, you're not triggering me. I haven't got any. Telling someone you haven't got any is the same as telling them that you have. Same as the gambling and the drug, just say no ads and all that shit. What's gambling really costing you? Well, they show pictures of gambling on there. Triggers your subconscious. Which is why I've never really been an addict. I've had trouble dealing with some problems a couple of times. I've never needed rehab, I've never needed help. I just stop. And I don't understand personally why others can't. They say they want to, but they don't. Well, obviously they don't want to. Obviously they still have trauma that's not being dealt with. You see, how does all this help with all this? How does all that help with any of this real world stuff? How does that put coffee in my cup? How does it put food on your table? How does it put clothes on the backs of your children? How does it actually address the problem that we have with all the division and separation and anxiety and angst and grudges carried across the world? So my grandfather warned of this a long time ago. There's no such thing as multiculturalism. What there are problems that are put together. Unmatching, made up religions to create political division. What are you watching? Right? They're made up religions. Everyone's going on about religion this and religion that. What are you doing following the religion? There is not one single biblical text in any Bible that correlates to religion. They're all about faith. The religion and the hatred's made up by the Roman Catholic Church. It's Rome. It's always been Rome. Rome? Who's Rome? It's the Ashkenazi Europeans occupying the lands of Abraham. I've got to go. Got shopping to do. Yeah. Well, I hope you're all better than your mum. I used to think the world of your mum. Not so much now. She's a raving lunatic. I don't think you're the same. Fix this. Be the voice of sensibility.